This is not the time for this resolution, which jeopardizes these efforts. And so for that reason, the United States has offered an alternative resolution that would do what this text does not.
Commencing with an immediate humanitarian ceasefire.
The result of the voting is as follows: 13 votes in favor, 1 abstention, 1 vote against.
We have made incredibly clear that the resolution before the Council would not achieve the goal of a sustainable peace and may in fact run counter to it. Proceeding with a vote today was wishful and irresponsible. And so while we cannot support a resolution that would put sensitive negotiations in jeopardy, we look forward to engaging on a text that we believe will address so many of the concerns we all share, a text that can and should be adopted by the Council so that we can have a temporary ceasefire as soon as practicable based on the formula of all hostages being released. This temporary ceasefire is critical to getting aid into the hands of Palestinian civilians who desperately need it. We should look towards this text so that we can finally condemn Hamas for their horrific attacks on October 7th, which set this conflict into motion.
The outcome of today's vote clearly shows that on the issue of a ceasefire to halt the fighting in Gaza, it is not that the Security Council does not have an overwhelming consensus, but rather it is the exercise of the veto by the United States that has stifled the Council consensus. The U.S. veto sent a wrong message, pushing the situation in Gaza into a more dangerous one.
Today, we have borne witness to yet another dark chapter in the history of the United Nations Security Council. This was yet again written by the United States delegation, the U.S. delegation, which continues to pursue the same objective, to provide cover for its closest Middle East ally and to drag out the time to the greatest possible extent for them to be able to carry out their inhumane plans against Gaza, specifically to expel the Palestinians from the Strip and to completely cleanse the Strip, essentially and quite literally transforming it into an uninhabitable territory. Under these circumstances, there are open discussions in Israeli political circles about categories which completely rule out the two-state solution. Once again, having pitted calls for calling an end to the carnage in Gaza against demands to condemn the actions of Hamas. In doing so, our U.S. colleagues have once again hypocritically remained silent about the fact that on the 18th of October, they, having already vetoed the Brazilian draft resolution with this condemnation. The Algerian draft was capable of reversing this situation, of ending the annihilation of Palestinians in Gaza. Unfortunately, the now fourth U.S. veto prevented this from happening and doomed the fates of another thousands of peaceful citizens of Gaza. Now, turning to the U.S. text, which previously today was so proactively championed by the United States representative, as far as we are aware, this text has not even been officially circulated at the Security Council, not to mention the fact that there was no comprehensive or meaningful discussion thereof. For this reason, for now, this all looks like further spoilers which are designed to detract attention from the latest shameful veto exercised by the U.S. veto on a critically significant resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza.
Allow me also to thank all states that voted for and not against the draft resolution. I also thank those who abstained, because this draft resolution calls mainly for a ceasefire in Gaza. The draft resolution would have sent a strong message to Palestinians. However, and unfortunately, the Security Council failed once again to rise to the calls and aspirations of peoples of the world.
The call for ceasefire should have been agreed to long time ago. What threshold needs to be crossed for this council to finally demand a ceasefire? What could be more serious than the crime than genocide? History, as my brother Ammar said, is going to judge the council harshly. It is already doing so, impairing its credibility and authority in the eyes of people all over the world. The veto of this draft resolution is not only regrettable after weeks of consultations with every single council member and after endless patience by the State of Palestine, the Arab states, and nearly the entire international community that for months have demanded a ceasefire. It is absolutely reckless and dangerous against shielding Israel, even as it commits the most shocking crimes.
Will a ceasefire bring home the hostages? Will a ceasefire eliminate Hamas? Will a ceasefire disarm Hezbollah, the Houthis, and all the other Iranian terrorist proxies in our region? Will a ceasefire end the genocidal ambitions of Palestinian terror groups aiming for Israel's annihilation? We're still waiting for President Abbas to condemn the October 7th massacre. What exactly will this silver bullet ceasefire achieve? A ceasefire achieves one thing and one thing only: the survival of Hamas. Just yesterday, Israel exposed footage proving that Shiri Bibas and her two children, 4-year-old Ariel and 1-year-old Kfir, were taken to Gaza alive. So tell me, distinguished council members, a 4-year-old and a baby were taken hostage by Hamas, among others, and most of you choose to support a ceasefire? Israel seeks a ceasefire. But there is only one formula that we are willing to accept. All of our hostages must be released, and Hamas must turn themselves in. Colleagues, the Algerian resolution not only empowers jihadists by calling for a ceasefire, it also fails, again, to condemn Hamas for their heinous crimes.